No matter what the combat sport, whether it's wrestling, whether it's judo, whether it's jiu-jitsu, sambo, it doesn't matter what the rule set is, we want to link moves together. It's chain wrestling, it's chain grappling, okay? And if we can link them to better, more efficiently, we're going to continue exerting more control over this guy and make life miserable for him, and that's the point of fighting him, okay? Right? Let's be honest. Now, let me set it up. I'll have Derek do most of the coaching on this again. If he's on elbows and knees, this is a common position. We see this a lot no matter what form of combat sport it may be. Okay, bottom guy thinks he's safe. What we're going to do is take away some elements of safety, take away some elements of support. If I can't get my hooks in with my legs, everybody says, get your hooks in. They think primarily with your legs, right? You know, well, that's great. But, you know, getting your hooks in is also involving your upper body, your hands and your wrists and your arms too. So that's what we're going to work on here. So we're going to work on now on controlling the near wrist, working around in a circle, and coming directly behind him and pulling him right into a Juji Gatame. This is a great move and it works a lot. Be sure to take note of, Derek, you're going to do the right side with your nearest? Okay, so come on around, camera guys, come on around here.
I'll just rotate
your body. Okay, there we go. Now, by the way, this works really well whether you're in a jacket, a gi, or no gi. It doesn't matter. In fact, the no gi may even work better because you're kind of sweating. So just some things to add on here. I'll let him coach from here on. This is a really high rate of success on this move, and I recommend you do it and drill on it a lot. So there we go.
So a couple things to set up the near wrist and spiral ride. Normally this is off of somebody who's super tight, so you can't get your hooks in, you can't get a hold of the lapel, or you can't get an underhook for the arm. So we're gonna work inside out. And he's always got that hole there when he's super tight. So you can get a hand into control and then work into the wrist ride from there. Once I start, my foot is underneath his ankle. Okay, I'm not gonna step in between his legs for a normal wrestler's ride, because with that foot in between and the knee up, he rolls through, right into the knee lock. So to avoid that, and also get some more control, once I come through, this foot is underneath, and my knee.
See the footstep there, guy?
Okay, leg is underneath, and your knee is blocking. So if he does try and roll through, we just stay on top and ride him, and he never gets in on the leg. Okay, there's also a lot of different wrestling breakdowns you can get from there as well. So it's a good control point. Secondly, your other hand comes across in a spiral ride. So sit up for a minute. So I'm just reaching through and I'm grabbing the inside of his thigh. Works for gi as well as no gi. And I'm locking. This leg has control of this hip, this hand on the spiral has control of that hip. Just focus on freestyle wrestling, guys. It's just
Why
a
I'm
wrestling.
showing you that, guys, if you don't know this, you guys have wrestled a lot, you know this common sense, but it keeps Derek from being extended too far with his left side and being rolled over like a Peterson roll or something.
Yeah.
So the idea is to ride him and control him long enough to set him up for a submission.
Okay, so if I'm not in a good control ride, and I've just got my arm here to keep him down, he's gonna grab that and Peterson roll me in the next week. So we set this up with control, and then at the very least, you know, we're back through here, and I managed to stick my hand through there and get the wrist, but I can't get the arm lock like I want. We move to one of our other moves, which we'll do the back take after this, but for now we're gonna work the arm lock. So once you get a hold of that wrist, again, there's a hole right there. So you just stick your hand through the hole. Once you're past the elbow, there's some space in there. So you just flip your hand over and you catch the near wrist. Pull it into his chest, and that will dip his shoulder. That part is important because that means you're controlling him enough, okay? Without actually pulling it in and just grabbing it, he sticks his arm out straight and he'll clear it. And then we're sitting here in a perpetual, you know, tug of war with his arm, okay? okay? So grab it, meat hook it, and stick it into his chest. Okay, like that, not like that, because I'm about ready to 360 him and I don't want to jack my thumb up, okay? Pull it into the chest. Once I have that, okay, I'm gonna put my chest over his as I tripod up, and my chest pressure is gonna be what keeps him down and allows me to keep tight on the arm lock as I go around. So once I get that pulled up into his chest, my chest goes over his shoulder blades, pop up, okay, come all the way around. Once we're north-south, I pulled his elbow up, okay? You won't have to think about it. If it's up on his chest and your chest is on his back, as you rotate around, it will come up, okay? Once we're here north-south, this leg comes in, okay? That's starting the block. And then once this is in, that hand comes through and you roll them back, okay? Don't worry about kicking over. If you have this correctly, you've got control of the head, your shin is pushing in nice and tight on his ribs, okay? Grab a hold of your lapel, slip through all the way, and there's your lock, okay?
And that's important, guys. If you kick your leg over, in this case Derek's right leg over, you're gonna let him off the hook. So keep it jammed in. See that right knee? See, if you do that, you know, it gave him too much room to move about. It may work against a guy who's not very skilled, but if a guy's skilled, and that's who we're training for, it won't work very well. You've got to keep that foot jammed in there to keep him trapped in.
Most of the time, by the time that foot comes over, he's pushing it out and he's sitting up, and then now he's on my back, okay? So always try it first, and then if it doesn't work, you can transition into something else, okay? But you haven't given up any opportunities there.
So you're kind of spiraling it out, like almost as if we would go to the classic Juji Gatame, but you're just going to arm.
Yeah, yeah, yep, yep.
That's smooth and slick. I like it.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This really works better in no-gi.
What are you calling it from? Is there, do you call anything?
Near wrist.
You want when you're finishing that arm bar, you want to keep him propped up on like one side
Yeah.
more than flat on the back.
That's
No.
right. If you try to kick over, he'll go flat on his back and then you lose him. Yeah, you want to keep as much control over him because we're not just locking the elbow, guys. I mean, we're pulling the whole biceps, tendon, the triceps, the shoulder. I mean,
I'm sure you can make that
it's a
very
whole arm
painful
lock.
the whole way.
Yeah.
All the way.
Pulling it out.
You'll be
Dragging
compliant.
him into it is quite uncomfortable. The more uncomfortable you make it, guess what? The better for you. And bad for him. He's showing me too. Watch the ride. Comes around the top. See that?
And notice how he comes out at a 45 degree, okay? You want to keep him right in there.
Because he's weaker. You know, again, we use the old, you bench press this way, you don't bench press at a 45 degree.
Yep.
So if you get that arm up here, it's quite weak. Guess what? You'll get a tap out quicker.
Yep. And from here, I mean, if I have to, I can still bring this over afterwards. More likely than not, it's going to be something along the lines of that. Okay? Shifting through the inverted triangle and or getting a bent arm lock through from there.
That's why we like to keep that knee up there because you can shift into a sankaku situation and your leg is not in the wrong place now if it's kicked over.
Right.
Makes sense? You do one more time, just go through it. Watch how he just goes through it, guys, and we'll drill on it. A lot of moving parts here, but once you start doing it, you'll see he rolls right into it. It is very effective. We use this a lot. I know John used this a lot when he was training his guys out at the Olympic Training Center. I remember drilling on this with the guys out there. It was very move. It was very move, and the points we brought out. So it's old, but yet, old still works. Okay? All right, let's give it a go. All right. All right, now, no matter what the combat sport, whether it's wrestling, whether it's judo, whether it's jiu-jitsu, sambo, it doesn't matter what the rule set is, we want to link moves together. It's chain wrestling, it's chain grappling, okay? And if we can link them to better, more efficiently, we're going to continue exerting more control over this guy and make life miserable for him, and that's the point of fighting him, okay? Right? Well, let's be honest. Now, what we're going to do here is kind of a plan B, but it may be your plan A, and this is your idea what you want to go for to begin with. We're going to do the move we just did, where you step around. I'm going to have Derek coach it, and we're going to do what we call now a hip roll Juji Gatame, where you're rolling over your hip, over his hip. So you'll see what he's going to coach you through it, but watch how you see the same setup to start, but watch how he finishes it differently. Okay, so here's a different finish to it.
Okay, so same setup, spiral on near wrist, still meat hooking him in there, still going with the chest pressure all the way around. The one difference is I'm gonna roll that way to finish, okay? And a lot of times it's happening because he might have put like a post back that way, or I can't get his shoulder up enough. So you'll know when you get there, you just don't feel comfortable sitting back in it, and that's when you go that way, okay? So as I come through here, I'm gonna come in, and right about here, if I'm
come in,
feeling
watch
like I'm
this.
not getting enough pull back this way, or if he starts posting a hand out, okay? So from here, I'm gonna post, and I'm gonna catch that head, okay? Knee comes up and over, right over. So for those of you who don't really like to squat too much, it's a viable alternative, right?
The rolling gives you more momentum and more torque in the actual application of it. We call it rolling over the hip roll Juji. We just had one of our guys do this last weekend at a judo tournament, and he got the guy to tap out right away with this very move here itself. So we know it works no matter what the sport it is. I'll show that again, Coach.
Yep, all right. So again, setup's entirely the same. The only difference is what I do to finish, either sit back or roll forward, okay? Coming back through, right about here, I know where we're going, that way, okay? He's posted out, I'm not getting him any farther this way. Post, catch the head, okay, step over, and there he goes. The important part with your shin,
Yeah, good, thank you. Watch the shin, guys, on the back here. Watch it.
right about here, okay, I've kind of got him stuck in between, okay? He's got that post right there. If I don't feel like going for the inverted triangle from here, I'm gonna collect, post, and my knee comes up and onto his back. And then just kind of flex your foot and put your weight on his back.
See, it was a natural roll then. See, I did a shoulder roll from there? Okay, that's important to do. Now, some guys will say, kick your leg over. I think it's more efficient to do it this way. It's quicker. You could kick your leg over, but I think you'll still exert as much control and not have to kick your leg over your right
Well,
leg.
that shin's also loading up pressure on the rib.
Exactly right. That's why we do it. Yeah, you're loading more pressure. That's exactly right.
At about the halfway point, when you get that skin up there, so I get this, oops, sorry. Boom, okay, now he's not standing up on me. And even if he starts pushing up or pushing sideways or whatever he wants to do, it just aids that motion.
Derek, question. Once you put the shin on the back, it pretty much stays there, then you're gonna roll through.
Yeah.
You're not trying to bring your knee to the mat.
If you're a little bit more bendy, you can do that. Most guys, though, you're gonna find that you just stick it up there. So the younger guys that are a little bit more easily compressed into a ball, you can still get it down there, but it's not like you have to. And honestly, putting the shin on his back is more stable. You know, you're gonna keep him down there until you decide you're gonna roll.
Yeah, you're kind of pointing with that knee, Victor, and you're just rolling the shoulder. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think that's what you're going to do. Generally, you're going to be not that flexible that it's going to kick over. It doesn't really
You're not
matter.
sliding through, you're rolling.
You're rolling.
You're attached at that
It's a
point.
shoulder roll. That's exactly
So
right.
the foot, for those of you who haven't done a lot of, we call it a hip roll because you're rolling him over his hip. You're still, just like with every version of Juji Gatame, you're really controlling his head. So when I'm doing it, like if this is my leg, I'm trying to squeeze his head with my leg and get my heel to touch my butt. Just like with every single variation of Juji that I do. As soon as that foot goes in front of the face, that's my control leg, and I squeeze the crap out of his face. You're gonna think, well, I don't wanna do that because I don't wanna be a jerk. If you kick him in the face on purpose, you're a jerk. If you just squeeze his head, it's not that bad. It's uncomfortable, but it's not like you're gonna break his jaw or cross-face him or something like that. Yeah, it's little kazooshis, right? Okay, so as we come through here, and that leg comes in, see how I sit down on it, and now his face is squished there. So when I roll, he's gonna go with me, okay? Post, knee up. Now watch the leg. Where that foot goes, he goes because it's squishing it nice and tight. When I keep my leg straight, he ain't going very far. You'll notice a lag.
You're hooking and reaping his head with your leg. See that? Not as, but he wants to use that. And you notice one way he hooked under both the head and the armpit. Wherever you hook him is fine. It doesn't matter. totally up to you.
You'll still get it.
You will still get it. One more time, and then we'll let you guys drill on it. See how one thing leads to another? Okay? That's what we want to do. All right? Let's drill. Go get it.
All right. So the one thing that I'm seeing, everybody's doing really great, but it's the last step, and I think everybody's a little worried about the roll. So you have to remember, by time we get through to the spot where our foot's in front of the face, you don't need that leg anymore. So you can just go ahead and squeeze his head, and it'll aid the roll, okay? So by that, what I mean is when I get through here like this, okay, I'm gonna put my hand down, I'm gonna bring that knee up onto his back, and then now that foot can be out of the way. If
Right. You're not kicking the face, you're going around the neck to grapple the head.
right? If you don't like this, bring your head down on the mat. Now you've got 3 points of contact. Hook. Squeeze that head into your butt. That way, if he starts fighting it halfway through, over he goes. Okay? Plus, again, anything I have to do to follow up is right there, because you're nice and tight and in control.
One more time.
Okay. Right through here like this, okay?
See, now, if you post there, some of you guys are missing that. You need that post because, it's a post. It gives you some stability. It's a base of stability there.
Okay? Knee, bring your head down if you don't feel comfortable right here, okay? Foot up, grab, and then roll.
When he hooked around that neck, he didn't turn his foot sideways. He hooked it, plantar flexion. He pointed his toe, okay?
And
That's
if-
what he was doing.
If you're rolling through and the side of your leg is in front of his face, it's because you didn't grab his head. And you're gonna have a really tough time finishing them because your legs are straight. So by that, actually I'll do it on this over there. Okay, so once I catch this and I go through, I roll first and see how the shin's right there. Knees out of position, no control with this leg. I have to pull myself up and straighten that leg out, and now it's a tug of war to see who's got what, okay? When you land, you wanna be like that, okay? Nice and tight, good control with your legs, good control with your knees. Arm and elbow are in your chest, so it's an easy, it doesn't matter how tight he's grabbing, okay? Easy scoop into your arm.
That's a small point, everybody, but if you've come to this camp before, you've heard me say it, small things make big things happen. And this is one of those situations where by pointing your toe and not having it turn sideways, you're reaping his head, just like you're doing a throwing technique.
Yeah.
You show
What was it
again
that said Osotogari with his
It's
head?
an Osotogari
Fish?
on the head.
Yeah, same idea.
The other problem they're having is they're switching their hands. And they need to leave their hand right where
For
Yeah.
that post, yeah, I was a little
Yeah,
confused
so-
on where that-
Right hand, okay? In, all the way through. Now it reaches up and it grabs my lapel. Left hand on the side of his head, right where it needs to be. Knee up, head down if you have to, grab his head. This hand never switched. It had control all the way through. Okay, makes sense? So, try not to get into one of those situations where you're like, I gotta scoop this way, I gotta scoop that way. Where was my hand supposed to be again? That's one of the reasons why I advocate grabbing your lapel. Because you grab it, you know then that the elbow is gonna be stuck in your chest and you don't have to worry about this hand anymore. Okay? Good? Questions?
We're gonna
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.